Rayman is coming back sooner rather than later, and if the leaks are to be believed, we could have a remake on our hands. So to sum up really quickly, it was leaked a while ago by Insider Gaming that Rayman was not only being worked on as a brand, but that a remake called Project Steambot internally was being worked on. Now further leaks have been made by Insider Gaming saying there is a remake in the works, and if that does well then Rayman 4 will happen. This is about the pros and the cons and the fun stuff we want to see, the crappy stuff we don't want to see, what we love about Rayman 1, what we hate about Rayman 3, and so on and so forth. So let's delve right into the world of Rayman Origins. Rayman Origins, my beloved, it is the best 2D platformer I've ever played in my entire life, in my opinion of course, and I've not played every 2D platformer, so don't get angry with me in the comments. Why have I not breathed yet? Does it deserve a remake? Would it be good? Would it be bad? What do I want to see? What do I not want to see? What do you want to see and not want to see? Let me know in the comments, and let's get into it and discuss. So to kick off, I just want to say Rayman Origins, to me, of the 5 mainline games, I'm not counting the spin-offs here, it feels like the forgotten child. You know, Rayman 1 is iconic, Rayman 2 is often cited as the best, Rayman 3 is also often cited as the best, and Legends is the most recent and the more popular of the 2 UbiArt games, and you know, all of the subsequent Rayman stuff that's happened since 2013 has kind of been based on Legends. Origins, being so similar to Legends in terms of gameplay and art style and everything, kind of gets lost in the fog because it's the smaller one. You know, I'm not saying necessarily Legends is better, I've made it clear on this channel I prefer Origins, but Legends kind of has the bigger and better vibe about it, you know? It is so windy outside, I think you can hear the wind, yeah. Listen to that. I have to walk to the train station in half an hour. So with that, Origins, just a big thing, a big pro, I guess, of remaking Origins is I personally just want to see that game get some more love. I know I can play it right now because of the Xbox 360 backwards compatible thing. You know, you can play it on an Xbox Series X, you can play it on a PS3, and you can play it on a PC. But I would just love to see Origins playable everywhere. I love Origins so much. I've said on this channel before, you know, the momentum-based level design and gameplay is so good, and that's just one of my favorite things about the entire Rayman series. So just to see Origins get some more love would make me so happy. But in terms of it being a remake, what would I want to see? I honestly don't know. It's really tricky. I've got some opinions about Legends because I've made it clear I have some issues with Legends, whereas Origins I think is more or less perfect. So there's a lot I can think to improve on with Legends. With Origins, do I want to see a one-to-one remake? Probably not, because similar to Rayman 2, I feel like a one-to-one remake would be redundant. There's nothing wrong with Origins, it doesn't need to be brought up to be modern, and if you do a one-to-one remake, it's never going to be quite as good, you know, like the original Origins is still always going to be better. And if you change too much of Origins, it's just no longer Rayman Origins, you know what I mean? It's a new game. Now obviously we do know from the leaks that it's going to be 3D, and while I haven't had to re-mention that for a while because all the games past Rayman 1 have been 3D, it is worth noting right now that they are hiring 3D animators, developers, what have you, to work on this new Rayman remake. So is it Origins? Is it Legends? Possibly not. While I've got you here, I'm going to ask you very kindly to click the subscribe button, like the video, and if you want to support the channel, you can become a member down below. There are perks, so it's a win-win for everybody. That's all I got. I mean, I can understand remaking Rayman 1 in 3D, so I can understand remaking Origins or Legends in 3D, and I also think maybe 2.5D, you know, the Prince of Persia The Lost Crown style, where everything is 3D and it's technically a 3D world, but it's all a side-scroller still. I think Rayman Origins could be really interesting like that. I mean, I love the level design of Origins, I think it's so stunning, and while I wouldn't want them to redo that in 2D, because I don't think you could ever match it, I think it'd be really cool to see those environments, those enemies, those bosses, those levels, just everything in 3D. And one really cool idea I actually have come up with is interconnected. So take Rayman Revolution, right? It's the Rayman 2 remake from like 2000 on the PS2. They interconnected everything, so everything was one big open world and the levels kind of led on from each other. So imagine each world of Rayman Origins and it's all one big level. So there's only like 10 levels in the game, but they're all huge and they've got checkpoints and there's backtracking. You could really have so much fun with what already exists with Rayman Origins, but without making it a one-to-one remake, which would never hold up to the original. You could do something fresh and new while maintaining the core fundamentals. Basically take Rayman Origins and reframe it in a way. Like Rayman 2 and Rayman 3 and Rayman 1, I would also love to see more costumes, more mini games and side content. You know, I love the tricky treasures and I love the speedruns, the like time trial trophies. Let's have more of that kind of stuff. More little challenge rooms, more combat challenges, parkour challenges, a lot like what Rayman Legends was doing with the challenges, you know, the endless runs. We'll get to Legends in the next video, of course, but I would certainly love to see a lot of what Legends was trying to do brought over into Origins. Like I say, I prefer Origins, but there's so much of Legends I do like, and I'm going on a Legends appreciation trip in the next video, don't worry. But I certainly would love to see that sort of thing come in. And yeah, like I say, if it was Origins, I got some pretty good ideas I've already suggested. But the number one massive thing I want to see in Origins, and I mentioned this a little bit in my Rayman 3 video, is the cut content. Now, I've not made a video about this before, so on my channel this is probably the first time you're hearing of it, but hopefully you already know. Well, Rayman Origins' development was all over the place, and the game ended up changing a hell of a lot from the original plan. And it ended up not having a story. It ended up not being the episodic, story-based 2D platformer that they planned. Boss fights were changed, functions were changed, mini-games were changed. Bring it all back. I mentioned this a bit with Rayman 3, saying bring back some of the cut stuff from the Bog of Murk. Well, with Rayman Origins, I want to see the original plan fully played out. Proper big story. I mean, that's my biggest complaint with Origins, and this applies to Legends as well. Legends probably even more so, because at least Origins is like you go through like worlds. Legends is level packs. Legends is a DLC for Origins. My point is both of them lack a story. Man, give me that story. I'm desperate to see, because this is the thing, right? Rayman Origins is called Origins because, yeah, it goes back to the roots of 2D, but it was supposed to be his origin story, and we never got that. All we saw was the nymph slowly giving him powers. We never saw how he met Glowbox, how the Bubble Dreamer concepted him. None of that stuff. I want to see the original story that they had planned for Rayman Origins. I want to see Rayman's origins really properly for the first time. And I want to see a lot of the levels and the ideas and the concepts that were planned for Rayman Origins and were eventually cut. I think that's my biggest wish, really, if they did remake Rayman Origins. I want to see that. But this is not just about the pros, this is also about the cons. What would I not like to see in a Rayman Origins remake? I don't want to see tons of fluff. You know, I feel like every level in Origins is important, it's worthwhile. Every boss fight is fun, every bonus level feels like it's got a purpose. You know, I don't want to see that modern gaming fluff where it's go here and do this for no reason. You know, you did the tricky treasures to unlock the final level. You did those silly, like, Electoon sort of bouncing, fast-paced levels because they were like a bridge to the end. You did the mosquito levels because they were how you travelled long distances. You know, everything made sense, everything had a purpose. I don't want to suddenly see loads of fluff. Fluff and padding is a very common thing in pretty much every video game now, and I just don't want to see that in my Rayman game. You know? Likewise, I don't want to see Rayman Origins' core fundamentals change. You know, it is a momentum-based platformer. So, if you add new levels and if you add new stuff, keep it momentum-based. I don't want that suddenly to be slowed to a halt. I don't want a lot of my issues with Legends to come into Origins. We'll talk about Legends tomorrow. Probably going to be my longest video because I've never really super gone into what I don't like about Legends, so we're going to go over it, because if they do remake it, I have a list of things I don't want to see come back. But yeah, a big one, I don't want to see fucking Murphy. Please don't bring Murphy into Origins. Don't ruin Origins with Murphy. Oh, please don't. I don't ever want to see that little shit again. I don't want to see him again unless it's Rayman 3. That's the only time I ever fucking liked him. But really, I love Origins so much, and other than changing it too much, I don't have a ton of stuff I don't want to see in it. Like, I just can't see it going bad, you know what I mean? Just keep it being fundamentally Origins, and I think you're onto a winner. Business Brain has to go on again. I feel like Origins is a dumb idea to remake. That's going to be a hard sell, because I think you're already risky remaking a UbiArt game because they're so recent. While I think an Origins remake could absolutely be very cool, I just think from a business perspective, again, I say this every time, they need this game to sell well for us to see Rayman 4. Rayman Origins or Re-Origined or whatever, I just don't see that being the best idea. Some final thoughts and likelihood, again, not getting into it too much, but You know, they supported some like Rayman Origins and Legends DLC and UbiArt stuff at the Rayman Alive event, and although this is going to be 3D, so maybe, you know, if it is Origins or Legends, I guess they wouldn't be too fussed about more UbiArt stuff, because it's not really treading on their toes if it's a 3D remake of one of these two. But realistically, I don't think Origins would be being remade. I don't think it's the least likely. I think it's absolutely possible. And I think it's probably more possible than like Rayman 2 and 3, now that I come to think of it, because after Rayman Alive, 2 and 3 have kind of been wiped out for me completely. I don't think they're getting touched, or at least remade by Ubisoft. So I think Origins is definitely possible. I don't think it's the most likely, but hey, it could happen. What do you think? Do you think it could happen? Do you think it's likely? Would you like to see it? And if Rayman Origins did get a remake, what would you want to see in it, and what wouldn't you want to see in it, and what do you think of my opinions? Do you disagree with me on something? Is there something I've said that makes your blood boil? Let me know, and be sure to come back for the final video in this 7-part series where I talk about Rayman Legends and what I would like to see and what I wouldn't like to see if that game got remade. And of course, I'll touch briefly, like I always do, on whether it's actually likely. And if you're a long-time viewer of this channel, you'll finally get a bit more insight into what I do like about Rayman Legends and what I don't like about Rayman Legends, and really my true opinions, because maybe, and this is a secret so don't tell anybody, maybe for comedic effect, I actually am overly dramatic about Rayman Legends, and although it is my least favourite Rayman game, I still think it's like a 8 out of 10, and I really like it, and it's a really good game, and I just like go overboard for comedic effect when I complain about Legends. Although fuck Murphy, actually just fuck Murphy. I'm saying this now in the wrong video. Never Murphy. Legends remake, no Murphy. Origins remake, no Murphy. Rayman 3 remake, yes Murphy. Rayman 2 remake, no Murphy unless he's Billy West. Goodbye.